Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Ron Placone and Steph Zamorano.
I'm miserable.
Yay.
Hello.
Yay. So, I've told you this before. Well, here's a crazy thing that's happening. The voter shaming is off the hook. And this happened in Ohio last week. Okay, so last week there was an election. And at the time of publications from The Intercept, it says at the time of publication, the vote tally, there was a congressional race. This was a congressional race. And the Republican had 101,772 votes, and the Democrat had 100,208 votes. So the Republican was winning. But there was a Green Party candidate in that race, and the Green Party candidate, Joe Manchin, garnered 1,129 votes. Wow, that's not many at all. That doesn't seem like enough to throw the election. Well, some Democrats have projected their frustration about their loss onto third parties. Yep. Even though, by the way, so they're blaming, they are doing that. They're blaming the Green Party candidate because you know why? Because they can't do math. Because if you did the math, you would know that, of course, with all of Manchin's votes, O'Connor would still come up 435 votes short. But math hasn't stopped Democrats from blaming the Green Party. And here is one of the... here's a tweet from Alyssa Milano, who, I want to make it clear, Alyssa Milano, good person, big fan of hers, and she pushes a lot. She was a Bernie supporter early on, but I'm showing you this to show you how crazy people are getting, even good people are getting over this Russia stuff. You want to see what she says? She says, you know what sucks? Because of our unwillingness to pass policy that protects our election integrity, I immediately think the Green Party votes tonight are Russian meddling. Oh, my God. Why else would anyone cast a protest vote in Ohio when there's so much at stake? Hashtag Ohio 12th. Well, if you want to know why people would vote for a Green Party in Ohio, it's because they can't bring themselves to vote for another corporatist warmonger. Mm-hmm. So when you see 50 children get massacred on a bus in Yemen, massacred, legs blown off, heads blown off. Did you see the picture of the kid underneath the bus and his leg was still twitching? We did that. The Republicans and Democrats, they did it together. So when you vote for one of those people, you're now complicit, which is why I voted for Jill Stein, because I wouldn't be complicit in the slaughter of innocent people anymore. And calling it the lesser of two evils. And by the way, I want to make the point, when she says, why would someone cast a protest vote in Ohio when there's so much at stake? Maybe someone is voting their conscience. So there's a difference between a protest vote and voting your conscience. And if there's so much at stake, why did 70% of the Ohio's 12th district not show up to vote? There's so much at stake that 7 out of 10 people did not show up to vote. So what I'm urging Alyssa Milano to do going forward is when you see a situation like this again, you maybe criticize the Democratic Party and the Democratic candidate for not being able to reach over 70% of the people in your district and excite them to come out and vote for you, or get them interested, or even get them to realize that there's a lot at stake. They weren't even, 70% of the people in that district didn't think there was a lot at stake, Alyssa, which is why they didn't show up. And the Democratic candidate is supposed to convince them that there's a lot at stake. And my anger would be, why is the Democratic Party keep ignoring the majority of the people? Why don't you offer people something to vote for? And if you needed those 1,100 green votes in Ohio, maybe you offer something to them. instead of calling them traitors. So they've gone from voter shaming. This is now democracy shaming. How dare the Greens think they can participate in democracy on a local level? And if the Greens, and if you're a third party and you participate in democracy, I'm going to say you're a traitor. Because that's what that is, whether she knows it or not. They're now, if you don't vote for a Democrat or a Republican, you're a traitor to this country. You must be working with the Russians. That's how lost people have gotten. People of good conscience like Alyssa Milano. That's how lost we've gotten in this 70% of the people in that goddamn district didn't even bother to vote. It's so much at stake. Well, then you're supposed to convince them that there's something at stake and that you have actually answers for them. Maybe the Democrat couldn't A, convince them that there was anything at stake, and B, didn't offer them anything. And they tell that over and over during the 2016 campaign leading up to the election, people were screaming. The corporate left was screaming, hey, why does Jill Stein only run for president? Why don't you start building your party at the local level? Why don't you run for Congress? Oh, not now! We are running for Congress. Not now! What are you, a Russian?
Well, you want to talk about offering people something and things being at stake. A lot of the Greens, especially in Rust Belt areas, the reason they can't, one of the many reasons they can't go Democrat, but a big one is because they know that with fracking, that's affecting the water right in their backyard. That's why a lot of them cannot go for Clinton. So, I mean, that's an obvious right there. And how can you shame people that were voting for their water and their children's water?
You mean they want policies and somebody to stand up for anything that would help them in their culture and society? How often do we see Democrats have nothing? Mm-hmm. What do they have?
And that's such an obvious one to just go. I mean, if you needed those green votes, you go and you show up and you go, look, I know a lot of you couldn't go for Clinton for that reason. When it comes to the environment, I got your back and I'm committed to that. I mean, that's an obvious right there. And very obvious.
I really appreciate that you are pointing out that it's not a protest vote.
No, those people would not have shown up. They get to come out and they get to express themselves in the democratic process. They get to express their views. That's why we love living in America.
And our voting process wasn't set up. So, okay, you know what? You're a Democrat. You're a Republican. You got to vote Democrat all the time. You got to do that. That's when you know you're a real American. If you just stick with the party, don't go anywhere else. That's not voting.
And so when she says, why would anyone cast a protest vote? Why would anyone cast a vote for a Green Party in Ohio when there's so much at stake? Well, here's why. Because the Democratic National Committee backtracks on ban on fossil fuel donations. So if you're a Green and an environmentalist, you can't give your vote to these motherfuckers. That's why. What do you mean, why? Because the reason why we have pipelines crisscrossing this country is because Barack Obama repealed the regulation that banned exporting fossil fuels. So that's why, if you want to know why, if you're an environmentalist and you care, you get to vote for a Green candidate. And if the Democrats need the Green Party's votes, maybe they should stop doing stupid shit like this. You can't do this and then call somebody a Russian who's an environmentalist who doesn't vote for you when 70% of the goddamn district isn't also voting. This is just, it's madness what has happened. And why is it mad? Because good people are doing crazy things. Why else wouldn't somebody vote for them? Here's another reason why. Former Obama officials are writing it out, the Trump years, by cashing in. This guy right now is working for predatory loan companies. Predatory. Timothy Geithner. Ooh. That's why. That's why someone wouldn't vote. I couldn't give my vote to these motherfuckers. Am I a Russian? Am I a bad person because I won't vote for war? Now we have so tipped everything upside down and backwards that people who won't vote for war are somehow immoral? People who won't vote for the destruction of our environment are somehow immoral. That's upside down and backwards and crazy. And if you don't vote for these people, you're a traitor. You're a fucking traitor if you don't vote for these people. That's how bad it's gotten. Here's what John Blackman says. He goes, so you do know that if the Greens stayed out of your private elections, I love that he calls them private elections.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, if the Greens stayed out of your private elections, not a dozen of those voters would vote Democratic. There's a reason they register to vote Green. They aren't Democrats. For fuck's sake, half the goddamn nation doesn't even vote. Why don't you convince them about your Democrats? There were 70% of the people in that Ohio 12th district that didn't vote, and the Democrat couldn't convince them to vote for them? They're not offering them anything?
Well, there may have been 500 moderate Republicans that when they saw three choices were like, I was going to go Democrat, but now I'm confused.
Here's another tweet for you. Billy Eichner says, Dear Green Party, can you please wait to make your symbolic votes at a time when our government isn't being overrun by white supremacists? Could you be more condescending? This is the worst voter outreach in the fucking world. This is not how you get people to fucking vote for you, Billy. You're on the street. Maybe you should ask people, what would get you to vote for someone? Ask them when you're on the street, as opposed to when you're on your yacht.
Come at me. I don't care.
Come at me. Come at me.
Come at me with your symbolic tweets.
You know, Jimmy, this reminds me that the Democrats are incels. Incels, where they want you to vote for them, but they have nothing
to offer you.
Go ahead, you're the Democrat.
So I'll be the Democrat.
Okay.
I'll be like, hey, I'm a Democrat. You gonna vote for me?
What are you gonna do for me?
Nothing. Do you see the other guy? He's worse than me. You have to vote for me. Now vote for me, right?
What? I don't understand. You're not going to give me anything? What are you going to do?
No, I'm not going to do anything for you. But if you don't vote for me, someone shittier than me will be there. Now what are you going to do? Are you a Russian or what? That's what the Democratic Party does. If the Democratic Party was teaching guys how to hit on women in a bar, they'd go up to them, hey, hey, do you want to have sex with me? No. Then you have that either me or that fucking the ugliest guy in the place. No,
Look at that asshole falling off the bar stool. That's your alternative.
You either fuck me or him, and that's it. No, I'm actually gonna have sex with someone who's attractive that I like. You can't do that. Like they're incels.
Yeah,
it is like they're incels. You can't have sex with anybody you just feel like it. You get me or the ugliest guy in here who's falling off the bar stool.
We don't have chads in a democracy.
So he says, Dear Green Party, can you please wait to make your symbolic votes at a time when our government isn't overrun by white supremacists? I'd like to, Dear Green Party.
So sincere.
I know we need radical change now more than ever, but can you please wait till where there's a better time for you to participate in democracy? I don't know when that time will be, but I'll let you know when it's here. I'm Billy Eichner. Dear Green Party, an actor or TV personality will let you know when you're allowed to exist. Except if that TV personality or celebrity is Susan Sarandon, then you can't listen to it. Dear Green Party, stop running for president. Focus on local whatever, just go away. Anyway, Green Party votes are symbolic votes, says the guy that voted Democrat in the most blue state in the country. So here's what the Humanist Report says about these people. He says, Dear rich, pretentious pricks, if you're not pushing for ranked choice voting and telling your followers to tell their representatives about House Resolution 3057 and nationwide RCV bill, you can take a seat. So what he's talking about is ranked choice voting, which solves this problem. But the Democrats aren't pushing for ranked choice voting. You probably don't even know what that is because the Democrats never talk about it, because it would actually not give them an excuse anymore to blame someone for their losses. So what ranked choice voting is, I'm going to explain in the next video. So check the next video and watch ranked choice voting and you'll know what it is. And that would solve all this problem. But they're not pushing that. You don't even know what it is because the Democrats never mentioned a solution to this problem. Here's Kathy Griffin. Now, Kathy Griffin, like Kathy Griffin, hilarious. That show on CNN, her New Year's Eve show, without her, it sucked. I was home with the flu this year on New Year's, so I watched it. It sucked without Kathy Griffin. It sucked. She really makes that show. But here's her tweet. Let's get to her tweet. So there's all the nice things I said about her. Now I'm going to criticize this tweet of hers. She says, Green Party voters, no one is saying you can't vote for your candidates.
Wait a minute.
Pretty sure that's what you're saying. Let's see. Let's read forward. But don't tell me you care about the environment if you know your vote will make the difference between a Dem winning over a Republican and you still chose to vote for your candidate who has no chance of winning. So, again, Kathy, the Democrats don't own the Green Party's votes. People register as Greens because that's how they think. That's their conscience. That's how they feel. The Democrats are in bed with fossil fuel companies. How could you? So I'm glad that Trump now has woken some of these people up. Kathy Griffin now is interested in politics because of Trump, and I'm happy for that. But you can't enter into the debate and your big idea is to shame people who vote their conscience. That's a real horrible way to participate in political debate, by voter shaming and telling environmentalists they have to vote for people who are in bed with the fossil fuel industry, warmongering Democrats. I live in California, the bluest state of the country, and my governor, Jerry Brown, pro-fracking. So we have fracking. If this sounds familiar, it might be because this reasoning has been deployed since America's first elections, and especially since 2000, when Ralph Nader won more votes than Al Gore's loss margin in Florida, the state that decided the 2000 presidential election. Few ever raised the fact that 308,000 Democrats voted for George W. Bush in Florida that year. Over 9 times the 34,000 votes for Nader. Here's Adam Best. Hi, I'm a Green Party voter. I love the environment so damn much, I keep accidentally electing climate change deniers who are owned by the fossil fuel industry. Do I get a cookie now for being a nonconformist? No, you get a cookie for not knowing what you're talking about. You get a cookie for having a surface level understanding about how politics work. You get a cookie for doing what the establishment wants you to do, because that's what you're doing. You get a cookie for supporting warmongering anti-environment maniacs. I guess you're not up on the news. You're not up on the news because you don't know about this. Again, this is the opposite of how politics works. You don't get to wag your finger at people to get them to vote your way. You're supposed to do voter outreach. You're supposed to offer them something. That's how politics works. And if you're running for government, or if you're running for an election and you can't convince the Greens to vote for you, that's your problem. You have to figure out a way to get them to do it. This is the worst way. Voter shaming is the worst way to do it. Condescending to them is the worst way to do it. Shitting on those people who aren't voting for you, the worst way to do it. The best way to do it would be to try to get the Democrats to stop taking donations from fossil fuel companies so they're in their pocket. Maybe some Greens would decide to vote for them. Maybe if they had a pro-environmental record, maybe you could get some environmentalists to vote for you. It's like trying to get black people and Hispanic people to vote for Joe Arpaio. Hey, you better vote for Joe Arpaio. Why? Because there's someone worse. What the fuck? That's not how politics works. And all these celebrities who are new to politics, not well informed, are actually wagging their finger at environmentalists who are super informed. So please now check out the next video. It explains how ranked choice voting works. And then we won't have this problem anymore. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you are, you're probably not. It only takes a second to check, and then you have to ring that bell so they send you a notification when we drop a new video. Otherwise, they won't tell you when we drop new videos. And if you like our show, please help support it. Become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week, and we give a live stream. We do a live stream every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time when you could ask us questions and we answer them back. Thanks for your support.